Alright, this video is going to be called Essential Things You Should Have in Your Car. See this big bag and that box and that tool roll and those two boxes right there. Well, I had those in my car. I just cleaned my car out, or actually did it yesterday, day before yesterday when it's still 65 degrees. I'm going to go through all this stuff and I'm going to try and reduce it to just that box of essential things that you should have in your car. You know, tools and whatnot. I have a tendency, oh look, Budweiser, maybe that's one of the things I should have. Well, not in the car, but in me maybe, when I'm not in the car. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'll be back in a second after I've whittled it down some. First, here's what's in the tool rolls. Long side cutters, short side cutters, pliers, razor knife, little tiny bent nose pliers, straight cutter pliers, some punches, extensions. Now that goes somewhere, probably going to the funnel, and that group of bits will end up going in the box. The bits are really important because you just never know which bit you're going to need, and that set is pretty complete. The other tool roll has, well, I can't see it, but it's long nose vice grips, regular vice grips, a couple of box wrenches, various screwdrivers, and even got a carpenter's pencil in there. I see a little teeny screwdriver, which always end up missing. It's right there. And of course, a pry bar. So that's what I keep in my tool rolls. I'll find something to stick in here. It's empty right now. Probably had a pair of vice grips in it. Don't know what happened to those, but I'll find them and stick them back in there. So I'll be back with the next display here in a second. Okay, here's my little table showing what I've got here. First of all, starting from the left. This is a cheap little set of sockets from Harbor Freight. I'm going to throw that in there because first of all it's complete. There's none missing. Except, I mean, the ratchet and stuff's missing, but that's no big deal. I must have 5 or 6 each one of these sockets. This is just a bag, a random bag of small little tiny sockets. And another random bag of little sockets. And a little tiny ratchet. And 3 wrenches. I've got an 8mm already on the car. I got a 10, 11, and a 12 here because they seem commonly used, so keep them. Plus I've got a toolbox out there I got from Harbor Freight for like 30 bucks. It's pretty minimal, but it has a set of sockets and a set of wrenches, and you know, that's all. It's all in its own little box. Comes with a hammer and some screwdrivers and a razor and, you know, some other things. Very helpful. Now in my little box here I've got specialty pliers, long sockets, every extension I could find. This is probably the nicest thing I've gotten at Harbor Freight Tools. It is a flex head, 1/4 inch on one end, 3/8 inch on the other. I guess that's reverse, that's a 3/8 inch side. And there's that socket I lost. Gosh darn it, I wondered what happened to that thing. Okay, it was on my tool. This thing's long, and you can get a lot of leverage on it. And you can reach down into small spots because it's narrow and thin head, thin body. It's surprisingly strong. It doesn't flex at all. It's well worth the 20 bucks I gave for it. As well as this little thumb wheel. Again, stuff that's so little, it doesn't make any difference. Basic things like this to clean off a battery terminal. Some cobalt pliers that, you know, they adjust, self-adjust to whatever it is you're trying to put a pair of pliers on. They work pretty well. This tiny little pair of lock nut pliers, or lock ring pliers. I've also got a battery tester and this little gauge for ACs. Again, stuff that's really small and doesn't take up any room. A test light. Actually, it's a logic probe. You can hook it up to negative and positive at the same time, but if you want to just use it as a test light, well, you can do it that way too. So that's a, and you should always have a measuring tape. Those little tiny sockets get lost. And nothing is more infuriating than working on something and the socket comes off and falls and hits the ground and you can't find it. And yeah, exactly. So, also zip ties. 11-inch white cable zip ties. They really are helpful. And since it's hoodie weather here in my basement, because it's like 8 degrees outside, I've got my little buddy heater here, which works really well. I would advise if somebody buys one of these, though, they get the adapter for the 28-pound propane cans, because those little 1-pound tanks, this thing will go through it in about 2 hours. Whoop, it's gone. And there's my Budweiser. So, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, the box is full. It's right there. I just put a couple other things in there. A Harbor Freight multimeter, the kind they give you for free, which is all I'll need in that car when I'm driving around, if I ever need it at all. And a pair of gloves, rubber gloves, in case I need to pick up something, nasty. Now this is some other stuff I've got in the car. I just keep this loose back there. It's a little gardening pad. Helps when you're changing a tire or you're doing something under the car. These knee pads, which really help a lot, particularly on my knees. A little funnel for the oil. The absolutely necessary in any car tool, a 3-pound hammer. And a 1/2-inch torque wrench. Now the reason I have that is because I have to torque my lug nuts to spec. So if I have to change a tire, I need to be able to torque them down to, where they're supposed to be. And I also have this safety vest. I bought this because one time I was changing a tire at night, and I was acutely aware of how invisible I was to everybody, so it made me nervous. So I bought that. Just keep that in the back of the car under a seat somewhere. Now let's see what else I've got over here. I've got a couple other things I keep in the car, which I'll just walk over here and show you. I keep that jack because that's needed to pick my Navigator up. It's a really nice jack. It's a combination jack stand. I also keep, well, not this, but this Cobalt impact wrench. I've got a 1/2-inch impact wrench, cordless Cobalt impact wrench with a whole bunch of sockets, deep well sockets in it. The reason I have it is because, well, to get tires off the cars. It's also great for the junkyard when I go there. And it's in its own little box, and it just sits back there without causing any trouble at all. Oh, okay, well, I guess that's about it. Oh, it isn't it. One other thing I keep back there. This is a pair of wheel chocks. This big one here was gifted to me from Louisville Gas and Electric. One day, when they were out fixing our electric power, it had gone out from an ice storm. There's about 7 trucks out there on our street. And the next day when they all left, I found that wheel chock in my driveway. So I've kept it ever since. I bought this other one at Harbor Freight for 15 bucks. Connected them both with a little chain. Keep it in the back of the car to chock the tires in the event I need to do that. Why not? Alright, one last little thing. You might wonder why I'm shooting a video about all this stuff I keep in my car. Because I took it all out about 3 days ago when it was 65 degrees instead of, what is it now, 12, 18, something like that. And the reason I took it out is because, well, I might need storage space in the back, given the inclement weather. Fortunately, that didn't come to pass. Although I went through a 50-pound bag of rock salt yesterday pretty quickly. But I also took this opportunity to pull out the bed liner in the back of the thing. I just ran it through the downstairs basement shower, scrubbed it with a big brush, and while it's not certainly pristine, it's also not coated in spilled chocolate milkshakes from McDonald's and the other assorted goo that children and adults produce in the back of a car. So I had some oil that had leaked out, etc., etc., antifreeze splashes and whatnot. So there it all is. I guess my little Saturday video is over. Hope you found this entertaining at least. Thanks.